Talk about tonight. The Democrats afraid black voters leaving Biden in droves, and I got a couple articles. The main article I actually was going to touch up on. I actually decided to use another article, but I may touch up on that article as well too. But of course, the Biden administration just came out recently, about 3 days ago, with their list of achievements and accomplishment that Joe Biden and his administration has done. Of course, this has kind of been a kickback because they've been getting a lot of negative press about the actual black voters leaving and stuff. You see polls constantly talking about the black support, how it's waning for Joe Biden. So I believe the White House and Joe decided to go ahead and try to get ahead of things, and they put out basically an article full of his quote unquote achievements and everything he's done for black people and black community since he's been in the office. A who's. So I'm gonna touch up on that, man. Shout out to my people coming over there on YouTube as well. For all my people coming to YouTube tonight, guys, as you already heard, we're gonna be talking about black voters and their support of Joe Biden. We're gonna be talking about Joe Biden, quote unquote, also his actual, the actual accomplishments, so to speak, that he said that he's done for black people as well. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna touch up on a number of things. And feel free to leave your comments as always. I'll try to go ahead and get to the comments over there on YouTube, but it'll be interesting to hear. Very, very interesting to hear about, the actual accomplishment, because it starts off like a lot of things. It talks about black people, and then it starts talking about people of color and unserved communities and all this other kind of stuff as well, too. So I got to touch up on it, man. I'm going to read up on it. Original, I see you up in the spot. Original, I don't know if you're busy tonight, but I may send you a co-host invite. I know DJ will be in here later on, but I definitely want to go ahead and get you up in here and get your opinions on this as well too. Shout out to everybody, man. I hope y'all having a good Monday. I know it's always hard to start the week back off and try to get back in the swing of things, but I hope everybody's having a good Monday. You guys missed the actual last space we had broadcast. It was pretty good. We were talking about the black people up there in Chicago, the black Chicagoans that pretty much had it up to here with Mayor Brandon Johnson and felt they're being replaced. If you guys did not catch that broadcast, be sure to catch that broadcast. That was a very, very good broadcast. As always, my people on YouTube, guys, make sure y'all click that notification bell, because YouTube will not send out any of my notifications. So click that notification bell, like tonight's broadcast, leave a comment as well, and make sure you share it on your social media platforms. We got one of the elder statesmen of the Newstoter platform up in the space tonight, co-host, and we got my man Original. Original, what's going on with you tonight?
Hey, doing great. How's everybody doing? Well, tonight I got some great information to share regarding these Democrats and how they vehemently hate us. I want to share some articles tonight showing how there's one article it's no longer on, but during 2016, at the Democratic Convention held in Philadelphia, they had the illegal alien up on the stage at the convention speaking about their issue. Now, black folks were outside of this convention. They said, well, the Democrats don't have a black agenda, so we're going to discuss one. But they outside of the convention discussing black issue when they should have been inside. So this is going to be an interesting evening, people. And so share this room out so that and see if we can pull more people in this room, because this is an interesting topic. Because see, what's been going on is that these Democrats, regardless of ethnicity, they are running for position, and they will vehemently speak on issues pertaining to every demographic except for us. They just think we're supposed to just come out and go vote. But I ain't gonna give it all up. Let's get some more people up in this joint.
Oh, absolutely. And if you think that's something original, wait till I read this first article. Matter of fact, this wasn't even supposed to be my main article tonight. I may touch up on the main article because we got two contrasting sources. I'm gonna start off with the actual the actual title of the actual broadcast was Democrats Panic, Black Voters Leaving Biden in Droves. This is from the blackspirit.net. The actual the site, Kevin Jackson used to be a contributor on Fox News, and this is from his actual site here. And I want to go ahead and share this. This is from a Black Republican's point of view. Then I'm going to come back from the Sacramento Observer and get you and that I'm sure they lean more to the left. Says, I know this to be a fact. Black people on both sides of the political aisle feel more connected to Trump than Biden. Yet establishment Republicans are so busy trying to help Democrats destroy Trump, they're missing the opportunity to grow the party and destroy Democrats. Black people have tired of struggle. Like many white folks, we want generational wealth. Listen to the brothers at the barbershop discussing the Black edition and who's better at solving problems. I have many wealthy white friends, and what I marvel at most is their generational wealth. Having money for some time that gets passed down creates a different dynamic. You spend so much less time on mundane things in life that you actually get to live. Your mind is free to discover and not mirrored in survival. I've never worried about money. Put another way, I've always worried about money. Even when I had quite a bit more than I do today and made a comfortable living, my financial situation remained precarious. One overextension too many, and it could have been over. In fact, I remember having enough money in the bank that I felt my life was secure as long as I maintained my existing standard of living. During that time, I was in Vegas and I watched a young white dude gamble $5,000 on 4 hands. He couldn't lose and he tried. He bet the money like it was Monopoly money. In 30 minutes, he walked away with $500,000, completely nonchalant. Shortly after my period of feasting, my job was phased out. I changed careers, doing what I'm doing now. Within 2 years of leaving my job and starting this organization, I was broke. Through times were tough, I knew I had the skill set to rebuild. Not everybody comes equipped with that attitude. I grew up around wealth, which I always felt was an advantage for me. Being exposed to wealthy people instilled a never say die attitude in me. But these days, you don't need to grow up around wealth to understand it. If you want it, then you do the things necessary to earn it. Now, many Black youngsters at least know what generational or legacy wealth looks like. And they also know that Democrats don't want the Blacks to have this type of wealth. You ain't Black. I would love to see Joe Biden visit the barbershop. Nobody there would have bought his lunacy around the Democratic Party, but how do you think Trump would have fared around those same Black gentlemen? Know this. The media would never want you to witness a contrast between the two candidates. Still, you know intuitively that Trump resonates more with Blacks than Biden ever could, particularly if you remove party affiliation. Look at this man on the street video of Blacks giving political opinions. That was from the Bronx. This was talking about a video that was on this site, but the same was true when Blacks were asked about Trump in Chicago. This news report shows a migration of Black vote from Biden to Trump. Black voters see what's happening. They understand what the border crisis really means and that Democrats want to marginalize the formerly secure Black vote. Fresh voters are the only solution as Democrat policies continue to ravage the Black community. As I said to Democrats, they can't fix your brakes, but they will make your horn louder. So that's from one of our conservative people here. That's from the blackspirit.net. Now I want to go ahead and I want to touch up on some of the actual accomplishments. Like I say, the Biden White House, they listed Joe Biden's accomplishments in terms of what he's done for Black people in the past 3-4 years or whatever. And he has a laundry list of things. Now he starts off talking about Black, but they also go ahead and they mix in underserved communities as well too. What's up, DJ? I see you up in the space. What's going on?
All is well. Peace out to the family. Newstoter. We live, family. We live. Share the room out. Share the room out. Original blood. What's good, big bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Original up here co-hosting with us tonight as well too. I'm gonna go ahead and touch up on this, guys. I'm gonna go in because I actually didn't print this article out, but I'm gonna go to the actual it's one of our curation partners. So let me go to that site. When I get to that, DJ, I'm gonna make sure you know how sometimes that when you go to these sites, things get janky. I want to make sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
That's up in the Jumbotron. I did not get a chance, guys, because I wasn't gonna use this article tonight, but then I figured I'm gonna go ahead and get it. So I didn't get a chance to put it over there on YouTube. Apologies to the family, but I will read the actual article. This is from our curation partner, the Sacramento Observer, Black-owned newspaper in Sacramento, California. It says, Biden White House produces list of accomplishments for Black America. Circumventing criticism from pundits who say the Democrats, including the Biden administration, have done little to advance the Black community, the White House had released a special report unveiling a list of equity and opportunity successes advanced for Black Americans and communities across the country. Now, is it for Black Americans or is it for communities across the country? Over the past 3 years, President Biden and Vice President Harris have leveraged the full force of the federal government to advance racial justice and equity and ensure the promise of America for all communities, including Black Americans across the country, State's report released this month. With the support of these efforts, Black Americans are starting new businesses, creating jobs, buying homes, and taking advantage of increased education opportunities at historic rates, contributing to 60% increase in wealth compared to before the pandemic. And this boom in wealth creation following the pandemic is helping to drive a historically equitable economic recovery. The report continues from promoting entrepreneurship to increasing access to home ownership and delivering the lowest Black unemployment rate, from proving it's possible to reduce child poverty to historic lows, to expanding access to quality, affordable health care, from advancing voting rights and police accountability to ensuring equal access to high-quality education with historic funding for historically Black colleges and universities. President Biden and Vice President Harris are committed to investing in the future of Black communities. More than 90% of Black voters casted ballots for Biden in the last presidential election, but according to Politico, a recent poll focusing on Black voters say President Joe Biden is facing strong headwinds among his most loyal base of support, Black Americans. Politico reports in the Gen 4 survey released in December, nearly 1 in 5 Black Americans, 17%, said they would vote for former President Donald Trump, and 20% of Black respondents said they would vote for someone else other than Biden or Trump. The July 23rd article continues. According to the survey, about 3/4 of Black respondents said they would vote if the presidential election were held today, a figure that trails the number of white voters who said they would vote today by 10 points. The Gen 4 survey is housed at the University of Chicago and was conducted with over 3,000 eligible voters, including a large oversamples with voters of colors from November 8th to the 30th in all 50 states in the District of Columbia. The survey, which was conducted over the internet with a mix of respondents who were randomly selected to join a panel and those who opted in to participate in the survey, has a margin of error of plus or minus 3 points. Among the factors in the election may be the independent candidacy of former Harvard professor Dr. Cornel West. West has strongly criticized Biden for the 1990s votes and he says amounts to crime against humanity. In an exclusive interview. Hey, DJ, can you still hear me? Reginald, can you hear me? Yeah, okay, just checking. In an exclusive interview with the New York Post, Biden said, well, I think you'll thank Joe Biden contributed to a crime against humanity when he became the architect of the mass incarceration regime in the 1990s. A Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act that Biden sponsored as a senator in 1994 authorized the hiring of 100,000 new police officers and allocated $9.7 billion for prisons, the Post reported. West described the prisons as barbaric, which he said in the New York Post article has something to do with the crime bill that he put forward. West, now a professor at Union Theological Seminary who teaches in prisons, said Black folks are a low priority to Biden and added that the president was much better at window dressing Black faces in high places than real change. But substantive change is what the White House release appears to stress as it lists a string of accomplishments affecting Black communities under the Biden administration. Among the list are following verbatim and description: power to a historic economic recovery that created 2.6 million jobs for Black workers and achieved both the lowest Black unemployment rate on record and the lowest gap between Black and white unemployment on record. Help Black working families build wealth. Black wealth is up 60% relative to pre-pandemic, the largest increase on record. Cut in half the number of children of Black the number of Black children living in poverty in 2021 through ARP's child tax credit expansion. This expansion provides breathing room to families of over 9 million Black children, begin reversing decades of infrastructure disinvestment, including with $4 billion to reconnect communities that were previously cut off from economic opportunities by building needed transportation infrastructure in underserved communities, including Black communities. connected an estimated 5.5 million Black households to affordable high-speed internet through affordable connectivity program, closing the digital divide for millions of Black families, achieved the fastest creation rate of Black-owned business in more than 30 years and more than doubled the share of Black business owners from 2019 to 2022, improved the Small Business Administration's flagship loan guarantee programs to expand availability of capital to underserved communities since 2020. The number and dollar value of SBA-backed loans of Black-owned businesses have more than doubled, launched a whole of government effort to expand access to federal contracts for small business, awarding a record $69.9 billion to small disadvantaged businesses in 2022. Does it say exactly out of that $69.9 billion, how much of that actually went to Black people as well? Supported small and disadvantaged business through CHIPS Act funding by requiring funding applicants to develop a workforce plan to create equitable pathways for economically disadvantaged individuals in their region, as well as a plan to support procurement for small minority-owned, veteran-owned, and women-owned businesses. Set up the first ever national infrastructure to stop evictions, scaling up to the ARP-funded emergency rental assistance program in over 400 communities across the country, helping 8 million renters and their families stay in their homes. Over 40% of all renters helped are Black, and this support prevented millions of evictions, with the largest effects seen in the majority Black neighborhoods. Championed the largest increase to Pell Grants in the last decade, a combined increase of $900 million to the maximum award over the past 2 years, affecting over 60% of Black undergraduates who rely on Pell Grants. Delivered a historic investment of over $7 billion to support HBCUs. Through ARP, secured $130 billion, the largest investment in public education in history, to help students get back to school, recover academically in wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, and address student mental health. Secured 30% increase in child care assistance funding last year. Black families comprised 38% of families benefiting from federal child care assistance. Additionally, the president secured an additional $1 billion for the Head Start program, where more than 28% of children and pregnant women who benefit identify as Black. Improving health outcomes for Black families and communities. To improve health outcomes for the Black community, the Biden-Harris administration has, from what they say, increased Black enrollment and healthcare coverage through Affordable Care Act by 49%, or by around 400,000 from 2020 to 2022, helping more Black families gain health insurance than ever before. Through IRA, locked in lower monthly premiums for health insurance, capped the cost of insulin at $35 per covered insulin product for Medicare beneficiaries, and helped further close the gap in access to medication by improving prescription drug coverage and lowering drug costs in Medicare. Through ARP, expanded postpartum coverage for 60 days to 12 months in 43 states and Washington, D.C., covering 700,000 more women in the year after childbirth. Medicaid covers approximately 65% of births for Black mothers, and this investment is critical step to address maternal health disparities. Finance projects that will replace hundreds of thousands of lead pipes, helping protect against lead poisoning that disproportionately affects Black communities. Provided 264 grants with $1 billion in bipartisan Safer Communities Act funds to more than 40 states to increase the supply of school-based mental health professionals in communities with high rates of poverty. Signed 2 executive orders directing the federal government to advance an ambitious whole of government equity agenda that matches the scale of challenges we face as a country and the opportunities we have to build more of a perfect union. Nominated the first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court and more Black women to federal courts than every president combined. Countered hateful attempts to rewrite history, including signing of the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, established Juneteenth as a national holiday, and designated Emmett Till and Mamie Till National Monument in Mississippi and Illinois. The Department of Interior has invested more than $295 million in infrastructure funding and historic preservation grants to protect and restore significant to Black history. Created Justice 40 Initiative, which is delivering 40% of the overall benefits of certain federal investments in clean energy, affordable and sustainable housing, clean water, and other programs to disadvantaged communities that are marginalized by underinvestment and overburdened by pollution, as part of the most ambitious climate conservation and environmental justice agenda in history. repeatedly and forcefully called on Congress to pass essential legislation, including the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act, including calling for an exception to the filibuster to pass voting rights legislation, increase funding for the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, which has more than double the number of voting rights enforcement attorneys. The Justice Department also created the Election Threats Task Force to assess allegations and reports of threats against election workers and investigate and prosecute these matters where appropriate. Signed into law bipartisan Electoral Reform Count Act, which establishes clear guidelines for our system of certifying and continuing electoral votes for president and vice president to preserve the will of the people, to protect against the type of attempts to overturn our elections that led to the January 6th insurrection. Launched the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention and taken more action on gun violence than any other president in history, including investments in violence reduction strategies that address the root causes of gun violence and address the emergency threats like ghost guns. In 2022, the administration investment in evidence-based life-saving programs combined with aggressive action to stop the flow of illegal guns and hold shooters accountable yielded a 12.4% reduction in homicides across the United States. Signed into law, the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the most significant gun violence reduction legislation enacted in nearly 30 years, including investments in violence reduction and strategies and historic policy changes to enhance background checks for individuals under the age 21, narrow the dating partner loophole in the gun background check system, and provide law enforcement with tools to crack down on gun trafficking, secured the first ever dedicated federal funding stream for community violence intervention programs, which have been shown to reduce violence by as much as 60%. These programs are effective because they leverage trust messengers who work directly with individuals who most likely commit gun violence, intervene in conflicts, and connect people to social health and wellness and economic services to reduce the likelihood of violence as an answer to conflict. Signed a historic executive order to put federal policing on the path to become the gold standard of effectiveness and accountability by requiring federal law enforcement agencies to ban chokeholds, restrict no-knock warrants, mandate the use of body-worn cameras, implement stronger use of force policies, provide de-escalation training, submit use of force data, submit officer misconduct records into a new national accountability database, and restrict the sale or transfer of military equipment to local law enforcement agencies, among other things. Taking steps to right the wrong stemming from our nation's failed approach to marijuana by directing the Departments of Health and Human Services and Justice to expeditiously review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law, and in October 22 issued categoric pardons of prior federal and DC offenses of simple possessions of marijuana that in December 2023, let me see, possessions and where am I? Let me go back. 2023 additional offenses, simple possession and use of marijuana under federal and DC law. While white, black, and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people have been arrested and prosecuted and convicted at much higher rates. Announced over 100 concrete policy actions as part of the White House evidence-informed multi-year alternatives, rehabilitation, reentry strategic plan to safely reduce unnecessary criminal justice system interaction so police officers can focus on fighting crime, supporting rehabilitation, doing incarceration, and facilitating successful reentry. So this is the actual list of all of the stuff. This is the list of all of the stuff that the Biden administration has said that they have done, they've accomplished. Like I said, on a number of those things, especially when it came to the money, and they were talking about X amount of money, this and that. Never said exactly how much black people gathered, the billions of dollars that they said they were doing this and doing that for certain programs as well too. So that's where we at. Shout out to everybody. I see you guys up in the actual space broadcast tonight, guys. So shout out to all of y'all and anybody that wants to speak. Definitely feel free to come on up here and get the microphone as well too. Original DJ, is there anything? I see Extreme X. He's over there on YouTube. Extreme X said, "What a word salad." And then we got Non Swirls on. He says, I'm trained in conducting research and I'm always skeptical of some research findings. Most of propaganda. I would need to review their sample methodology to be convinced. Yeah, and with all these polls and stuff like that, it's always a certain number that's going to have an error on it as well, too. I mean, no poll is 100%. I don't care how it's conducted. So I definitely feel you on that, Non Swirl. But and original, I know you said you had some stuff tonight too you want to touch up on as well too, but this is just from what I read, and I know I was kind of trying to speed through because it was pretty long, but and of course we knew that they were going to talk about Ketanji Brown Jackson and Juneteenth. You knew somehow they were going to mix that in there. The Emmett Till has been dead for about 60 some years, so to give him a statue when he couldn't even get any justice, when your Department of Justice refused to go after this woman, and then not just Joe Biden, but all of the presidents, every president from Dwight Eisenhower all the way down to him, really, really didn't want to touch that case, didn't really want to do anything. So he's just in a long line of presidents that, hey, didn't want to get their hands dirty with that situation as well too. But I knew they were going to mention the Juneteenth. I knew they were going to mention Ketanji Brown Jackson. I knew they was going to mention the statues and stuff like that. So a whole bunch of other stuff. People always talk about the internet and everything else as well, to internet connection and everything else. So there are a bunch of things that I've already heard before that I knew they were going to go ahead and list as accomplishments. But like I say, shout out to everybody up in here. Original, did you want to touch up on anything that I read? Is there anything in that article that I read that kind of caught your attention, kind of made you say, I don't know about that?
Yeah, but see, what caught my attention is how in the article you read something about they included other demographics with us, and see that seemed to be a prevailing thing with them, whereby when they're talking about issues pertaining to us, but they said see, back in the day, I remember hearing people say, and unfortunately, no taxation, she's not in this, and she could verify this. They would always say that anything we get, we have to do it under the auspices of minority, because we have to include everybody with what we do. Oh yeah, that was a thing, coming up in the 70s, 80s, and all of that. That's why they identify us as these ambiguous minorities. But what I want to share with you all, I don't know if you all saw this online, but let's see, Andrew Gillum, him and Tiffany Cross and Angela Rye, they got this little podcast, and so he's talking about, you can protest during the primaries, but during the general election, we all need to get out there and vote. But let me read to you all what Andrew Gillum, when he ran for governor of Florida in 2018. So basically, Big Swole, y'all know it's Stacey Abrams, and this guy named Ben Jealous out of Maryland. They basically had the same platform, but as far as I can remember, Ben Jealous was worse, because what he did, he had what he was going to do for basically the gay white community, because if you're black, regardless of your sexual preference, you're not wanted by these people anyway. But he had a page and about maybe an eighth to a fourth of a page as to what he would do for that community. But let me read you what Andrew Gillum platform consisted of: criminal justice reform, economic and jobs, education, environment, gun safety, healthcare, immigration. Then he also had Israel and gay equality, Puerto Rico, women's rights. Now, nothing, and see, when he ran in 2018, that stand your ground was still hot. Didn't say anything that he would try to repeal stand your ground, because see, when these people run for public office, they feel like they have to put us, we become a side piece. Well, I can't really bring you out right now, but if I get in there, no. Even if they get in, they don't do anything for us. They act as if we don't exist. And so this is why I keep telling people, watch these people, but they keep telling us to come out and vote, but they don't want They don't want to say anything to rock the boat. Just like what you were reading about Jim Crow Joe. Let's not forget, Donald Trump. Now, I'm not promoting Donald Trump by no means. Let me get that straight. But Donald Trump has set the HBCUs up. Jim Crow Joe comes in, and through the Congress that had control of the House and Senate, they slashed that funding. Really, I think it was like at $45 billion. Then it was cut down to $2 billion. See, that's how they operate, but they tell us they are working in our best interest. And so we have to watch these people, how they work. Like I said earlier, before you start, your broadcast, in 2016, you had the Democratic Convention. Now there's 2 articles I put in the chat, so you all can go in there and check. One of them is from NPR. It said a single vote has flipped control of Virginia House of Delegates. So in 2016, in Virginia, there was a discrepancy on the vote. And so they had to do a recount. And it came down where it was a 50-50 tie. So the governor was a Democrat. So control of the legislature went to the Democrats. But it was one vote that made that difference. See, I understand that. See, like I tell these people who tell us to go vote, I understand that voting is important. But I'm not giving up my vote for benign neglect. You're going to go out there and take care of every demographic, and you as descendants of enslaved people don't get anything. And I put another article up there. It says, this was in 2016 also, undocumented immigrants given role at Democratic Convention. At that convention, you had the illegal aliens up on the stage, given a platform to discuss their issue. And so this is why Jim Crow Joe and the Democrats, they are running scared, because black people are like, we're not going through this anymore. We've done our job. And if you can't come out and support us, like this article, although it's no longer on the internet, it says this was on the root. It says the Democratic National Convention didn't talk about a black agenda, so we did. Now you had like Ben Crump and that guy. He has that site Color a Change, which he's funded by George Soros. Then there was another PhD guy. They are outside of this Democratic Convention, and it was them and this word WURD, this word radio. This article was written by Charles Ellison up there in Philadelphia. But they are outside discussing a black agenda, while the illegal aliens are up on the stage telling the Democrats what they need and what they want. See, that's how they've been operating all along, and I'm not going to stay on too long, but I want other people to chime in as well, and I'm still looking for some other stuff that I can share so that people will get a better understanding. Jim Crow Joe, he knows he's in trouble, but see, he's such an anti-black racist segregationist, he will let the whole damn thing fall apart versus doing right. Him and all the Democrats, regardless of their ethnicity, they will let the whole thing fall apart versus doing right by us. And see, if you notice, like I said, and they'll start talking about, look at what they've done for. It's all this generic stuff whereby everybody is included. Nothing specifically for us. They're going to always try to find a way to say, they'll say black, or they'll say marginalized, they'll include marginalized people or people of color, all that kind of garbage. And we have to put a stop to that. So I'm going to land, and I'll come back up and say something else there, but I want, please, people, go into that chat and check those articles out, the ones that I put in there from NPR and Reuters, that shows you what these people are doing and how basically they have not changed. And I got some more stuff I'm gonna pull up, and I'll come back up and share that with you later.
All right. Thank you, Original. Appreciate you definitely co-hosting and everything. And what you said too, the interesting thing I found about some of those actual accomplishments. Now, when it did have black people, they say were, I guess, they made a significant portion of whatever bill or whatever, quote unquote benefit that it did, even though it wasn't solely for black people, but if black people were 30% of it or 40% of quote unquote the people that benefited, then that's something that people can say, well, that benefited black people. Like taking into consideration, taking the fact when they talk about the actual cap in the insulin at $35, which I think is a great thing. I think that is a great thing. I think more of these medicines that these greedy pharmaceutical companies are it's costing them a few pennies to go ahead and actually create, and they're fist over dollars. So they just people sick in need of certain medications and stuff like that, and they're really raking them over the coals. So I think that's a good thing that they did cap it. But the fact of the matter, people are going to say that, well, black people disproportionately they have a higher rate of diabetes. So when he capped it, when he did that for insulin, that was for black people, and it's things that nothing specifically that they signed, like the HBCU thing, like he was talking about, because I know a lot of people saying how much money he put into the HBCU programs and stuff like that, but there is nothing, when they have something like that, and whenever somebody does something, people always say like that this was for black people. Like, yeah, we did a reform of criminal justice. This was for black people, or this was this is for everybody. Which I understand people would say, well, you can't just do something specifically for black people because we've always been told that. But don't sit up here and say that you can't do something specifically for black people, and then when you do something for everybody, it benefits it. Then you want to go back and say, well, look what we did for black people here. Like, no, you did that for everybody. So that's the problem I see right there with everything. That is always, and like I say, a couple times in that article, more than a few times in that article, they're able to sneak in other communities and people are the underserved communities as well too. Like, so even when it started off, he was talking about black Americans and other communities. Like, listen, if you're this is the thing right here. When you're directly supposed to be talking to black people, it's supposed to be solely about black people. You don't sneak other groups into it. And if he was talking to the Hispanics, Latinos, whoever, he's not going to be sneaking black people's name into his accomplishments that he did for them. Like if he spoke to the actual Asian community, he's not going to sneak black people's name up into, oh, okay, yeah, we did all this, that. We also did this for other communities and this and that or whatever as well too. Another interesting thing that I see is that the guy that was what was it? The other interesting thing I see is that article stated off like 17% of black people said they would vote for Trump, and then you almost had something, I think like 20% of people said that, hey, they're not going to vote. 20% of black people said they're not going to vote for Trump or Biden. So I think this is the main reason why you're starting to see these articles come out, because every time you turn around, every month, every other week, there's a new poll coming out saying that his support among black people are really, really, waning. And you got a lot of black people, especially in the Democratic Party, that are really, really, scared. Clyburn's come out, and Clyburn's been saying things like that to try to drum up support as well, too. But when you factor in the amount of black people that sit up here and say, hey, I'm going to vote for Trump, then you factor in the amount of black people that say, hey, you know what? I ain't going to vote for either one of them. Then factor in the black people that say, you know what? I'm not going to vote at all. Like, yo, those numbers are reaching 90% of the black. I just don't see it. There's no way possible that he could reach 90% of the actual black vote this time. It's just, I'm trying to think of a number that I think that, realistically, I know the Democrats are still going to get the vast majority of the black vote. But exactly how much of that black vote he's going to need to win, that's a key issue right there. Could we possibly see it go from 90% of the black vote, which I still have a hard time believing that Joe Biden in 2020 got 90% of the black vote. I can see if you said 87, maybe 88, but like 90%, that's almost like the Obama type territory we're talking about right there. I think Obama got over 90% one year, and I think he got in one election, and I think he got like 90% the next time or something like that. So are we really saying that Joe Biden got, as even in that second election, the re-election for Barack Obama, are we trying to really say that Joe Biden got just as much of the black vote as Barack Obama got in 2000 and what was it, 12? I find that very, very hard to believe. I think this year there's a realistic chance, that he could possibly only pull in maybe 85% of the black vote. And I know people say, well, that's still a whole lot. Like, yeah, that's still a whole lot because you got to remember, black people are still going to vote on average. They're still going to vote Democrat, but there's no way he's hitting 90. I don't see anywhere over 85% as well, too. DJ, you there?
Yeah, mic check 1 2 1 2.
Do you think that from what we're seeing with these numbers and everything else, do you think it's any way possible that Joe Biden is going to get anywhere near the 90 percentile for the black vote?
Yeah, for the simple fact of black people live by the motto, I'm going to vote blue no matter who. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you got that in a person's brain, aka indoctrinated, yeah, you probably get 95% this time. And you already know how a lot of these black elders feel. Excuse me, I'm walking out of the house real quick. You already know how a lot of these black elders feel about Trump. They don't like him just because, not because he did something systematically to him. See what I'm saying? As long as people, as long as these Democrats give us tangibles, black people are okay with it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no issue with none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me, I'm walking out on the street real quick. We ain't got no issue with none of that stuff, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, he might get 10 times, but really rock the whole thing. But like I said before earlier, you know, when you stay up late at night, right? See, I've been watching the elections, you know, for as long as I've been a kid. You know what I mean? Stay up all night. You know what I mean? Got to go to school or whatever the next day. Too much back then. So basically, you would stay up all night, watch the, you know, the numbers coming in. So, you know, for whatever reason, in this 2020 election, about 3, 4 in the morning, when things normally wind down in an election, and a president, and you know, the race has been called already an hour or so, but the numbers still kind of coming in just to call the numbers. Why is Joe Biden's numbers surging like crazy 3, 4, 5 in the morning when Trump was whooping them from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning? I mean, beating them like he stole something. But nobody checked it, so could be another argument why Trump was so adamant. Hey, man, I need a recount. I need y'all to find da-da-da-da-da-da. But, you know, nobody look at it like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, Nightfall, I see he left a comment on YouTube when we was talking about the percentage, you know, the amount of black votes that he may get. He said, not a chance. I don't see any way possible, because I just don't see this election coming up. We already see a significant amount of black people saying, hey, I'm not going to vote. Then we got some saying, I'm going to vote for Trump. Then you got some that saying, I'm not going to vote for either. So I just don't. I think that this may be the lowest. He may get the lowest number of black support of any president, of any sitting Democratic president in a long, long time. I just don't see. Like I say, if he hits 85%, I think that would be a high number with everything. If he hit 85%, I think that would be a high number for him. But I just don't. I don't see him getting over that 85%. I could be wrong, but I just don't see him. I just don't see him touching that number there. If he does, I'll be surprised. If he hits 85%, you know, he'll be tough. It's going to be a close election, I think, either way. I think no matter who wins, I think it's going to come right down to the wire. Like last time, Extreme X say 75%. Extreme X, I don't.
Everything that's going on around the country right now, I think, you know, people are coming out to vote in droves this time. You know what I mean? Even though they kind of what they did last time or whatever, but I think it's going to happen for real this time, coming out in droves. So each president had over 70 million votes in 2020. So what is going to be this time? He's going to have to be reaching at least, and then again, on either side, and even the independents, that should vote, because, you know, the Democrat BS. Hey, black people, I won't forget what you did for me, Joe Biden, quote unquote. But what he did for us lately, ooh, yeah, nothing. You know what I'm saying, big dog?
Real talk. I see we got my girl Jess Cakes up here. Jess Cakes, what's up? What's up? How you doing tonight?
Hey, happy Monday, y'all. So no, I didn't believe for a second. Like, I think Joe Biden put so much sauce on his quote unquote win, and just like the previous speaker has said, like Trump was whooping them all night, and just like much of the terrible things and decisions they've done as far as the country, they did under cover of dark. when they bring in illegals, they bring them in under cover of dark. Here it is. Everybody go to sleep. Trump is winning. Wake up. Biden done got more votes than Barack Obama. You just can't make me believe it. You cannot make me believe it. But it's a whole big thing about that too. It kind of quieted it down because there's so much stuff that's happened since then. They were talking about the Dominion voting machines from back then, that China is in charge of that software. And keep in mind that Trump kept his foot on China's neck the whole entire time. So that's the business with China if Trump wasn't the next president. And for other people, because he wasn't as cooperative as Jim Crow Joe Biden is. So no, I don't believe for a second that Joe Biden got more votes than Obama. I don't believe that he got that many votes. I just don't. You just can't make me believe it. Because people like me, you got the old people that's going to vote blue no matter who. You got the Democratic, I'm going to keep it clean, the shields. You got those people, okay? But you also have people who in their right mind could not, like myself, in my right mind, in my heart, I could never vote for Joe Biden. After knowing what I know, it was one thing to vote for him with Obama because I was 18 years old. I didn't know. I wasn't politically savvy. But knowing what I know now, that this man spent 40, 50 years oppressing and hurting black people and hurting the black community, I could never, in good conscience, vote for that man. So it's a lot of people out there just like me. Even if they didn't vote for, even if they didn't vote for Trump, they definitely didn't vote for Biden. So I can see them staying at home. I don't see them just casting that vote for him. But I don't want to keep on going.
No, right now I hear the little one like he trying to get started. So the little one, he has radar. When you come on this Twitter space, he knows So shout out to my girl Just Cakes. Let me read a couple comments real quick, guys, over here on YouTube from some of our people as well. Nightfall says too many black folks are voting for the couch this year. I guess Nightfall is saying they're gonna be staying home. He says, like the fighting in Gaza, black folks have no dog in this fight. I agree. A lot of people are upset because black people won't come out and say this or that or whatever about the situation over there in Israel. Black people are like, look, I'm trying to make money to survive over here in this country or whatever. I need to worry about what's going on. I need to worry about all of this crazy stuff. Extreme X, when we were talking about the actual numbers and the percentages of exactly what he thinks Biden's going to get, he says 75%. Extreme X, it's not going to be that low. If it was 75%, then he would have no chance. It might be a wipeout. If he only got 75% of the black vote, he would have absolutely no chance whatsoever. Ashaya said, my vote is for the couch or whoever else has tangibles. No Swirl Zone says they're hoping Joe will win and not make it through a second term to set up things for the AKA. I guess by the AKA, he means Kamala. Let me go ahead and see what else we got over here. Extreme X says if he gets 85%, we're done in America. OG Bag says Biden is not getting 90% of the black vote. It's a new day. I would have to agree with you. If he got 90% of the black vote, let's just say that I would be totally shocked. I don't, like I said, I can't see him with the way people are talking. And, talk is cheap, like DJ say, because a lot of times our people will say something and they'll be pissed off in the election time and then they'll start, oh, well, if I don't vote for him, then this and that, they'll start shaming themselves or whatever. But I just don't see any way possible that he could get 85% of the vote. Everybody publicly, there's been, there's talk that a lot of people don't feel confident in him having the actual mental capacity with his age and everything else to go another 4 years. They definitely don't want to see Kamala. And that's another thing, too. A lot of people in the Democratic Party do not want to see Kamala Harris become the president of the United States. They don't feel that she has it. So that's another thing riding against him as well too. On the flip side, there are a lot of Republicans that are tired of Donald Trump. They don't want to see Donald Trump up there, but they know they don't have any other candidate that can touch Trump. So they're kind of tied to him as well too. They kind of wish Donald Trump would go ahead and sit down, or some of them even wishing that some of these charges and some of these cases will actually stick to Trump and get him up out of the way. You know, that's their way of thinking. I'll say this right here. If something should stick to Trump and knock Trump out of the 2024 election, then the Republicans are going to lose. I don't see anybody that they could put up there. And I'm sure if that happened to Sanders and everybody else would jump back in the election and everything else as well too. But I don't see anybody. I don't think DeSantis could even beat Joe Biden if we're being serious here. I don't think DeSantis has what it takes to beat Joe Biden. Betterworth says, something to remember is that Joe Biden has to survive debates. He's had 4 years to publicly fail, and he doesn't have the capacity to explain his way out of what Trump will say to him. Love my folks says Trump 24. Trump 24. Nun's World Zone says, let's hope Joe doesn't fall asleep during the interviews. That is a very, very, very real possibility. When I see him, like when I be seeing him actually talking and whatnot, I'm like, damn, I'm like, this dude. I'm like, you know, sometimes how they lie about people, the age on their birth certificates and stuff like that. I'm like, is this guy not already like 84, 85 years of age? Are they just saying he's in his late 70s? Is he not already about 84, 85 years of age? Just a look on his face and everything else. And I'm not laughing at the man, because we all got to get old and stuff. But if we lucky enough to get old, but I don't know. It's just he seems about 10 years older than what the actual press is actually saying as well too. Extreme X says, I knew his history. That's why I didn't vote for Obama. OG Bag says, I'm voting my recliner 2024. Asher Sun says, if Trump is locked up, will the Secret Service be locked up with him? Doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it as well too. I doubt it as well too. We got my man Original back up here. And I see a bunch of y'all down here in the listener section. I see my girl Stephanie. I know you at work, Stephanie. But if you get a chance, guys, come on up here and speak tonight. We're talking about the black people that's leaving the actual Democratic Party in droves. It got to the point, so much to the point that you see the actual Democrats in the White House, particularly Biden in the White House, they're actually listing out a long line of accomplishments. And they even taking credit for the actual, I guess, police accountability. But I mean, since he's been in the White House, I don't see, it seems like these school shootings and not just a school shooting, but these actual unarmed shooting of black men and stuff, they haven't gone down. You can talk about the accountability and the training and all this other crazy stuff as well too. But, black men are getting popped left and right, unarmed black men at that. So I don't really see where the efforts they're making, I see no difference whatsoever. Original, go ahead. You got it.
I just want to say this. I want everybody to look at, I posted in the chat, it's the platform for this guy. He's a congressional person now. His name is Colin Allred, COLINALLRED. So now he's running for Senate. And I want y'all to look at how these people, what they do when it comes to us. Now his platform is, I'm not going to read his entire platform, but it's basically the same as Andrew Gillum that I read a few minutes ago. But see, he got immigration, and please watch when they start talking about equality. One thing on his platform is equality under the law. And then it goes, as a civil rights attorney, Colin believes must stand united against all forms of prejudice. Then he said he's an outspoken supporter of gay rights. And then he goes down and talks about women's rights. But then it gets interesting when it comes to anything pertaining to us. He slid in there and he said, help to uplift and create opportunities for communities of color. What the hell is that? What is the community of color? See, they're going to be specific for the most part with every other demographic. And what they'll do is, because see, these other demographics, they know that although it says communities of color, they know that they would get more of those resources than we would get. We'd be the last thing on the list to get anything from whatever it is they're dispensing. And I noticed that it was said earlier about Jim Crow Joe and Trump coming to the barbershop. If they if either one of them came to the barbershop, that would be such a measured, a measured situation, because they have to vet these people before they get in there, and unless someone is willing to lie and say that they're going to go along with whatever platform, and then when they're posed with the question, they drop the bomb, that's not going to be anything that's going to help us, because there's a lot of these folks, like most of these people have like Secret Service protection. So anybody that gets that close to them has to go through that screening process to see if they are okay to allow in, you know. And somebody mentioned Cornel West earlier, but see, you have to watch. See, we have to watch everybody, because under Cornel West's platform, he said reparations for black citizens. No, that's not how it operates. And see, we have to stand strong. But I can tell you now, unfortunately, in November, I might have to go to the polls and vote. But the only thing that I'm voting on, because there may be a proposition on the ballot here in Georgia, where they're trying to slow down the increase of property taxes, because what the developers are doing, they are they're buying up all these properties, and they're trying to control the property taxes and everything, and the price of the homes and everything else. So I would be going out to vote to support not increasing property taxes, but that would be the only thing that I vote for. Because, I know I'm pissed off, but at the same time, I got to look at the things that will have an effect on me and other black people as we get older. And so I just want to say that, but if you get a chance, people, go look at Colin. I put it in the chat. Go look at Colin Allred's platform. And this is what gets me with these black folks. They can be, we all know who the face of immigration is, but yet they can be demographic specific for that. But when it comes to black folks, all of a sudden, well, we got to include everybody. No, we're not going for that anymore. And if they can't understand that, that is not my problem. That's their problem. And I'm not going to sit back and allow them to do that to us any longer. And I'm going to land with that.
Okay. Shout out to Original. Let me read a comment real quick. Love My Folks. She says, the new black media is telling, and this is on YouTube. Love My Folks says, new black media is telling black voters to do the same thing that white supremacists try to get them to do. Stay home, do nothing, and get nothing. Okay. She said, Love My Folks says, if you don't vote, how will you get tangibles? The illegal aliens are getting tangibles because their people voted their people into office. So Love My Folks is saying that, I guess she's saying that the new black media is telling people not to vote, to stay home if they're not, and if they don't receive tangibles. Now, here's the thing, Love My Folks. Our people have been voting when they've had a chance to vote, and even, you had black people voting even before the 1960s in this country. You had some black people that had the ability to vote depending on where they was at. Now, sometimes they were told how to vote by the people in these, especially these small southern towns as well, too. But you had people voting. But here's the thing. Black people have been voting, especially in these presidential elections, for the past, almost 60 years religiously. So I don't, if it was all about, we put people in office, we've had black mayors and everything else. So black congressmen, we have voted and we put people in office, and still, nonetheless, we still at the bottom of the barrel. Now, let's be for real. A lot of these people and stuff like that too, these illegal aliens, people are being helped out by the government. Way before, when black people were solidly, were the number one in terms of numbers, the number one minority group in the country, black people still weren't getting any tangibles when they were voting left and right. So I don't, I'm not going to tell somebody, hey, you should stay home or vote, or who to vote for. Everybody's grown. Vote for who you want to vote for. If you don't want to vote, that's up to you. If you do want to vote, that's up to you as well, too. But I know a lot of people are saying that, hey, it's wrong for people to say this and say that or whatever. Hey, everybody has their own right. And let's also look at it this way, too. if a certain number of black people don't vote in this election, and a lot of black people, and at least the ones we know online, feel like, hey, they want to stick it to the Democratic Party because they've shown support to the Democratic Party for 60 some odd years, and they've got just peanuts back in return. So another way of them also losing is not only voting Republican, but also not voting at all. Now, I'm not telling people not to use that strategy or use that strategy, but that's a way too. If X amount of black people don't participate in this election coming up in 2024, and if the same people that would have voted for Biden before decides, hey, you know what, I'm just going to sit out, or they voted for Biden before, they voted for Obama or Hillary Clinton, and those same people say, you know what, I'm going to just sit out of this election or whatever. Well, those votes that would have went to Biden aren't going to him. They may not be going to Trump as well either, but they're not going to him. So, that's a strategy. People don't want to hear it, and I'm not, like I say, I'm not signing off on anything, but that is a strategy as well, too. Whether you consider it to be an effective strategy or one that could be detrimental, it is a strategy, Original, go ahead and unmute your mic. You got it. And anybody else, guys, like I said,
Tyler, drop me down real quick.
Okay. You got it, Original.
Okay. Yeah, Newstoter, you are right. See, again, that's that fear that they want to invoke in us, that how we going to get some tangibles if we don't vote. Well, we've been voting for well over 60 years, and we've not gotten anything that we have gotten, because, see, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, they threw in language like religion, sex, and something else they threw in there to include all people who did not go through the beating and killing that our people went through during the Civil Rights era. So don't give me this garbage about if we don't vote, how we gonna get tangible. Well, just like I just posted, and I just posted Colin Allred's platform, or what he's running on for U.S. Senate in Texas. He don't mention black people. Whoever he mentioned, these ambiguous people of color. We're not falling for that garbage. We're gonna be just like Jim Crow Joe. We're gonna let the whole damn thing, collapse if they don't want to deal with us specifically. And see, now here's this thing, Cities for Action. This is their mission. City for Action is a coalition of nearly 180 U.S. mayors and county executives advocating for pro-immigrant federal policy and launching innovative, inclusive program and policy at the local level. Now, here it is. They want to bring in illegal alien, people who are not citizens, and they want to provide for them under a federal statute. So why in the hell will we go out here and vote for somebody, and they're not even doing this for us, and we are citizens? Oh, no. You won't get away with that this time. We are, it's like, what's the name? I think, Cakes. No, I can't see her. I can't see her here right now. But what's her name?
Just Cakes?
Just Cakes. Just like Just Cakes said, when she voted for Obama in what was it, in 2008, she said she was 18. But see, now she has more information and she can make a more informed decision. So all this stuff, when they talk about us not getting, if we don't vote, how we going to get tangible? See, here's the issue. Not voting, like you said, Newstoter, not voting is part of voting. Because when they see people are upset, especially black folks, because see, it is always said that the black vote is critical to the Democratic Party, to their success. So how is it that our vote can be so critical, but yet we're not even under the table to get any resources, let alone being at the table. We're not even under the table. We're outside and forgotten about. So all this propaganda talk is not going to work. You can say what you want. Like I said, if this proposition make it to the ballot, I will go to the poll, and I will only vote on that proposition. I'm not voting for anyone who can't publicly state some concessions specifically for U.S. descendants of enslaved people. That's not going to happen with my vote. See, I control my vote. Nobody else controls that. Bring up all the propaganda you want. Oh, and also too, you got this. What's that other site? Office of New Americans, whereby they're doing the same thing with. They're doing the same thing under that platform with this Cities for Action. So you look at all these cities, and Atlanta, where I'm located, is one of those cities where they're doing stuff for illegal aliens and nothing for black folks. Because as I said before, when Andre Dickens ran for mayor under diversity and inclusion, he only talked about what he would do for the gay white community, not a dang thing for black folks. So y'all can try that propaganda all you want. It's not going to work this time. You have lost. And I'm going to make sure you continue to lose until they address issues pertaining to black people specifically. And I'll land with that.
Thank you, Original. Let me see what love my folks. She said, I can see if people aren't voting and have a team of lobbyists getting tangibles, or if non-voters have executed orders that the president wants to sign, but just doing, nah, that ain't it. I guess she said just not voting isn't it. OG Bag says, at love my folks besides brother Marcel Dixon, who else is screen just moved. Who else grassroots candidate is running on a reparations platform? Very interesting discussion they having over here with everybody. Promoting voting is not propaganda. If voting is not effective and useless, groups wouldn't be trying to get illegals the right to vote. We understand that there is power in voting as well too. But like I said too, let's also be realistic here with some of these groups in the country that are over black people economically. These people didn't vote themselves into power and into money, into prestige and all this other stuff. The Asians didn't get to where they got by voting, and neither did the Jewish community as well too. That we just gonna be honest here. For the longest, like I say, black people were the second largest group in this country. Now they've been surpassed by Hispanics. But for the longest, they voted more than any of these other groups. They voted more than the Hispanics. They voted more than Native Americans. They voted more than the gays. They voted more than any group that you could think of in this country. And it's not like all the power and prestige and wealth and everything else just fell into the laps of black people. The black people's out there, they're the only group in this country that was dying for the right to vote, So we have to be honest. A lot of times people sit up here and we know that they say, well, black people didn't get out and vote. And a lot of times the elections they don't actually get out and vote in are the actual midterms or state local elections. When it's a national election, a presidential election, black people, like all other groups as well, too, will come out in droves, But when it's these state local type elections, a lot of black people aren't coming out, and a lot of other people of color, if you want to call them color, minorities, or whatever groups they are, a lot of them not coming out to that point either. So like I say, when we look at the Asians, when we look at the Middle Easterners, when we look at the Jewish people, these people, like I say, they're not where they at because of voting. I'm just being real. They have not elevated themselves. They are not financially over black people because they went out and they participated in the voting process. I'm just being honest. And if it was about that, like I say, if it was about that, because we've had so many people in the office, especially since the 60s on, we should definitely firmly have that second spot, but we don't. She says, true, other groups don't vote because they have lobbyists to get money for their groups. Other groups have leverage funds from their homeland to position themselves in the U.S. That's true too. I don't doubt that. But I'll give you even something more. Even without them leveraging in their homeland, a lot of these people as well too, because of the way the system is set up right here in this country, the country themselves, the people in this country themselves want to see certain groups over other groups as well too. And we know exactly what group that they want to see at the bottom of the actual totem pole. But I like I say, if people want to go ahead, I'm not telling anybody, hey, you shouldn't vote or you should vote for this candidate, whatever. Everybody's grown, they can do what they want to do. Like I say, it is a strategy as well too. And the strategy is that you got a number of black people that want to see Democrats lose, whether that's to Biden, whether that's to a third party candidate, whatever, whether that's actually voting red or not voting at all. You got a number of black people in this country that want to see the Democrats lose because they feel like the Democrats take them for granted, that the Democrats are trying to replace them with illegal aliens as well too. So, and let's be for real, for the black people that have been voting for the past 40, 50 years ago, a lot of them have been voting against their own best interests as well too. I mean, how many black people have supported, immigration? Like, I mean, especially, and a lot of black people, even in the Democratic Party, a lot of these black people that's the face of the Democratic Party, that they speak up in defense of the actual immigration policies and stuff as well too. So we have to be real about that. A black majority state. I saw you came up here. I know you don't have your hand up, but if you want to speak, I know you at work too. So if I caught you by surprise, and don't worry about it, Black. I saw you came up, and I know with the actual spaces and stuff like that, and you actually working and stuff like that. That I try to get you in when I can, but we can always come back to you as well too if you out there putting in that work as well. So we can definitely come back to you as well. Original, let me ask you a question. Down there in Georgia, and I know with the situation with Warnock and Herschel Walker, that was a down to the wire type race there between a sitting U.S. senator and somebody that was that really had no political experience whatsoever. What's the mindset down there in Georgia? Because I know Georgia for the main point is pretty much a red state. It's a red state. But what's the feeling in Atlanta, predominantly black city or whatever? How are people looking in terms of voting in the Atlanta area? To your knowledge, I know you got some of the younger folks there and stuff. Have you heard anything about people potentially talking about voting for Trump? Have you heard people getting pissed off at the Democratic Party? Do you hear people saying that, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to sit this election out? Kind of give me a headway of what's going on there.
It's a little bit of both. You got if you listen to like the talk, the Democratic Shield Talk Radio, they are talking about we have to get out there and vote like our lives depend on it, But you do have people who are saying things like either hold your vote, or they're saying that they're going to vote for Trump. There are some people here that are saying, let's turn Atlanta red, and they are tired of, like Atlanta has been a Democratic stronghold for decades, ever since 74 when Maynard Jackson was voted in as mayor. And as I said before, the former mayor, Keisha Bottoms, she put out a press release before she left office stating that she wanted to install these 10,000 lights across the city. And within that press release, it cited that especially in Southwest Atlanta, where there has been a historic underinvestment of lighting. Now, Southwest Atlanta is where a lot of black folks live. And for there to be any underinvestment of anything where black folks live in this city, that tells you that black folks don't run Atlanta. That they're just a figurehead, but there are some people that are out there. There are some, they're not as vocal. And then when some of the people call into some of these stations and expressing how they're not going to vote for Jim Crow Joe, they're ridiculed and called all kind of names, this, that, whatever. And Newstoter, I want to say something to what you said earlier about people may not come out during the primary or the general or whatever. Now, I want to use South Carolina, okay? When the Democrats said their primary in South Carolina, there's over like 3,240,657 people who are registered to vote in South Carolina. When Jim Crow Joe ran, only 4.8% of the people showed up, which is 111,487 people. Now, when the Republican primary just ended Saturday, 23.34% of the people, came out to vote. And it's like, and it was like 756,922. So that's going to be interesting. Now, what's interesting also is like under the well, maybe there were some more people who registered to vote. I'll say that because under the Republican information right here, it says there are 3,242,898 registered voters. So maybe they had an increase in registration or whatever. I don't know. But I find it interesting that just how many Republicans came out to vote. Over almost 1 million people came out to vote versus how many, only like just over 100 Democrats. So that right there could be a telltale sign as to how things just may go. And that's why you're going to say stuff like, how are you going to get any tangibles if you don't vote? Well, as I keep telling people, not voting is part of the vote. But yeah, you have but you have people here in Atlanta. Wherever we are, we basically have the same thing that's going on. We have these Democratic shields that are trying to encourage us to vote, saying to us, I know we don't get what we want and da-da-da-da-da, but if this guy gets in, and I'll even admit, for the most part, it may be catastrophic if Donald Trump is elected as the president of this country. But at the same time, if the Democrats are not going to address U.S. descendants of enslaved people, then, hey, let the whole damn thing fall apart, because I really don't care. I'm no longer voting for benign neglect. You can't take my vote and represent people who are not citizens, and my demographic don't get anything. That's not going to happen. So basically, you do have the same thing that's going on. Some people are calling in saying they're going to vote to sofa or a couch or whatever, So, but you have these sheets that are really promoting that we got to get out and vote like our lives depended on it. And I land with that.
All right, let me read a couple comments from Love My Folks. So she's lighting it up over there. She said, okay, so no one wants to help us, so the next best thing is to vote in our interest, which would be closed border candidates. And I'm not disagreeing on that. Like I said, she said, Trump is not the status quo nor establishment Republicans. He is a rogue and actually gave Black people tangibles, 10-year HBCU funding. She also said Trump gave Black churches the ability to apply for government funds to administer government anti-poverty programs. So Trump is not the status quo. She says, and I say she. I don't know. I don't know if Love My Folks is actual woman. I can't remember. She's a female or male. So let me just say, Love My Folks. I'm just saying she, but she said, Love My Folks says not voting is not revolutionary, it's lazy. And may I add, if you don't vote locally, you may end up with a sanctuary city. Well, let me tell you something. I'm in a state that's damn near a sanctuary state. And, most of the people in my family always voted. So I'm in Florida. And if you know about Florida, it's not far from almost being completely sanctuary cities is one thing, but it's damn near a sanctuary state. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if staying home is a thing to do for everybody. Certain people feel like that's a strategy that could, be an effective strategy for people. Other people feel like, hey, I'm going to get out there and vote. I voted in the 2020 election, but I didn't vote for either Trump or Biden. I did a fill-in, so I didn't vote for either one. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna vote for either one this election coming up either, but I'm gonna still go ahead and vote for the local things that takes place in my city as well too. So in the state as well. So I'll vote. I just won't be voting for those two candidates. But if somebody wants to vote for Trump, hey, fine. If somebody wants to vote for Biden, hey, it's nothing I can do to stop them. Go ahead, DJ, you got it. You there, DJ? Because you got your hand up, so.
Yeah. My bad. I can barely hear you. I'm outside walking right now. So, make a long story short, too, they reiterate what you said. It ain't good for us to stay home. Hold on, let this go jump on my. It ain't good for us to stay home and not vote either. You got a better chance of going to go, like you said, do a writing, if that's the case. But I guess in reality, it really wouldn't matter because, in your state, local elections, if you voted for a governor or a senator, and, all the local sheriffs and, all that other stuff, mayor, you pretty much already casted your vote for a president. remember, they did teach us, for those that paid attention in school, about the electoral collegiate or college vote, some people might say. So your vote has already been casted if you voted 2 years ago to elect a governor, senator in your state. So even with that being said, you can still go display your vote under the popular vote, because that's what it is. It's a popular and electoral. So, the vote that you'll be casting for a president will be under the popular. Wouldn't even be under the electoral. See that? So it's like, if you are going to go vote, I mean, if you want to hold out your vote, that won't be a good idea either. For those that don't read the pre-election ballot that comes to the House, I know I didn't read the last one I came through, and there was some folks on there I didn't like. I could have went and voted against them, but I didn't even bother to look at it because I didn't even think no one was contesting these Democrats up here. So with that being said, hold on one second. So with that being said, you got to think in the local elections, they have stuff on the ballot that may pertain to you locally. So if they're planning on raising the taxes come 2025, top of the year, and you get your, your mortgage bill or whatever and all this other stuff, and you like, damn, hold up, hell, the taxes don't went up, everything don't went up, or whatever the case be. I can't afford to pay this, what the hell going on? But hey, you didn't look at that pre-ballot and what they wanted to vote on, the initiatives, you know what I'm saying, the rules, the laws of the town. You didn't look at that. So with that being said, you missed your opportunity to voice your opinion that you did not want taxes raised on your property and all that other stuff. Other thing is, too, let's talk about the allocation of money. We was talking about, y'all mentioned that, original mentioned it before. When you're doing this census and all this other stuff, I know it's supposed to be, or at least look like, we're being counted, but we're not. But the other reason why you want to actually go vote, obviously still too, is so they can count the folks that's in your state. This is how they do the census too. On top of that, they look at these ballot elections and see who voting in what state and what county and what election, to see where the money is going to be allocated to whom and where. But we know it ain't coming to the hood, because look at the hood. You know what I mean? Joe Biden was talking all this infrastructure building and da-da-da-da-da. The roads out here in Newark and Irvington is terrible, yo. I know they terrible in your neighborhood too if you're in a predominantly black neighborhood. Roads is terrible, infrastructure terrible, crime still popping, all this other stuff. Then, just to close out, because I don't want to be long-winded, let's not forget on, what was that, Saturday or Friday or whatever, we had that space, or the after space I guess I had, about the Action Cities, or the Cities to Action, or whatever it was, and as well as the Offices of New America, where you got these folks that a lot of us put in office or have been in office for years, like a Clyburn, they advocate for illegal immigration for the most part. They're not advocating for legal immigration. This is illegal, what's going on in this country, and nobody seems to understand it, man. You know what I mean? But I'm going to right there, though.
All right. Let's see, we got a black majority state up here as well, too, guys. Definitely in the Jumbotron, guys, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel for my people over there on YouTube. Click that notification bell and share out tonight's program. Love my folks. Sweetie, and she says, I am a she. I thought she was a she. Love my folks, but I forget. But I'm go ahead and definitely share the program out tonight, sister. Definitely appreciate you coming up in here. She says, at Newstoter, you have a lot of immigrants in your state with divided interests. Yeah, we kind of do. It's definitely a lot of immigrants here. From a lot of immigrants from Caribbean and Latin America and South America and from all over the world as well too. And a lot of people from up north in this state as well too. A lot of New Yorkers in South Florida as well too. So you're right. We have a lot of immigrants here, and I feel what you're saying. Love my folk. Like I say, people, they're gonna decide what they want to decide. She left this comment. It must be for you, Original. She said, this old guy don't care if the whole thing burned down. Meanwhile, he's participating in the system. Is he going to live off the grid? So I guess you try to say that, hey, I know you're not trying to live off the grid, Original. So I'll let you, when you get a chance, you can explain to us about living off the grid. I don't, just because you don't participate. I think we don't realize that most people in this country, when you look at the actual number of people that actually vote, as compared to the don't, we have like something like 350 million people in this country. Well, how many registered voters do we actually have? 150, maybe 200 million. There are a lot of people in this country that don't actually vote, to be honest, y'all. So, it's a good number of people in America that don't actually cast a ballot. Let me go ahead and get to a black majority state. Before I get to black, two guys, support us on Cash App, $ Newstoter, $ Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter, $ Newstoter. If you don't have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal and the Jumbotron. Same for my people over there on YouTube. The Cash App is on the screen, and the Venmo and PayPal is in the description. Black, I'm glad that you're able to speak. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. How's everybody doing in the space tonight?
Doing good.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, what you just stated, I got a graphic that says there were 108 million plus that did not vote in 2020. That are actually registered to vote, I guess, is the numbers that they're coming up with there. So there is a significant population of people who don't vote in the country. In fact, in 2,110 or some range. As when DJ, I started thinking about art, and Perot ran, the billionaire. He took votes away from George Bush and ended up, ushering in a Clinton presidency back then. And if RFK Jr. can get ballot access, he does give people who don't want to vote for Trump or don't want to vote for Biden a chance to vote for somebody. I'm an independent, unaffiliated voter, so he's somebody that I may take a serious look at as far as voting for. He's likely to hurt the Democrats in those polls where he gets like 18, 20% of the vote. Trump still is at 40, Biden's at like 30, 33%. So if people vote for RFK, they will hurt Biden. It'll usher in a Trump presidency. So you can kind of vote for Trump without voting for Trump correctly for people who just don't, want to vote for Trump correctly. But I also came up because, our elections, these national presidential elections, are decided in the swing states, battleground states. It's usually 5 or 6 states that really determine the outcome, because all the other states, they know, have an overwhelming Republican electorate or an overwhelming Democrat electorate. And then there's a few that are kind of like leaning left or right. And then there are the quote unquote purple states. There are 6 of those. And in those states, and this is what really, really matters, because all the other ones, again, are pretty much already decided, if we're being honest, and if we understand how this thing works. The 6 states that Biden needs to win, he's in trouble with the black vote. They're saying that there's a 22% black voters in those 6 battleground states that they would vote for Trump in 2024. That's an early poll, polls are, but that's a significant change. I think Trump got maybe 12% of the black vote, so that's almost double, and it may increase over time. And if Biden does not get those battleground states, which I'll name them off real quick: Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia. 3 of them, we probably don't have significant populations, but Pennsylvania definitely, Michigan definitely, and Georgia absolutely. Michigan, the Arabs are already talking about not voting for Biden. If he loses 22% of the black vote in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia, Biden cannot win the presidency. Trump will win in, what will be considered a landslide in that situation. So, right now, the way the polls are, they don't even really include RFK into the calculation. But when he is, it hurts Biden. So it really looks like if things stay the way they are, Trump will win just based on the numbers. So that's all I wanted to add.
All right. Thank you, Black Majority State. And I know some people feel that Cornel West may take away some votes from Biden as well too? Do you think that's a possibility?
Oh my God. I don't think Cornel West is going to get ballot access. I think he really, man, what's up with this dude? So initially you would think he'd leverage to try to get a position in a cabinet seat somewhere, or, he's trying to elevate that Palestinian cause because his wife is, some Arab chick. I don't know. But he doesn't have a chance. He's really polling in the low, single-digit numbers. So maybe in one state, maybe he takes 1,000 votes or something. But nah, he doesn't have a chance.
Appreciate that, Black. Thank you. Let me go ahead and like I say, man, we're trying to get some other speakers up here. We're not going to be going long tonight, so we definitely want to get some other speakers up here if we can. Go ahead, Original.
Okay. What I want to say is this. I know you stated that someone said something about how we don't get any tangible if we don't vote. But see, just like what apparently it was on Litsky, but just like what DJ said, you cannot. And what I said also, I'm going to vote, but I am not voting for anyone. I'm going to vote on this measure regarding keep slowing down the increase in property tax. See, again, it's like the saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But in my opinion, that's below stupid. Because if these people think they can scare us, that's been dead on. They wanted to try and scare us to voting. Well, I'm not sorry, but I'm not afraid. And there isn't any way that anyone can scare me into voting for somebody and who has shown me, I can only speak for myself, but Jim Crow, the anti-black racist segregationist Jim Crow Joe, has shown me that he don't give a damn about us. And so since he don't care about us, I'm the same way. And see, and like what Black Majority said about, RFK Jr., at one point, I thought I could use him as a protest vote or something, but when he came out and said that he's for us getting reparations, but he wasn't for cash payment, I'm like, and when we went after him online, and he changed his mind. But see, my only issue with it, it's kind of like this, Newstoter. Someone had asked me, I've been asked this several times, why don't I promote the Green Party? But see, like I told them, I said, look, I'll be 64 in November, and I know white folks. They was no good when I was told who they were, and they still no good. But see, to support the Green Party, although they do support reparations for us, but see, if we were to support the Green Party and make them a legitimate third party, I would bet you they would flip on us the way that other white people have after they used us to build their platform. Then they dropped their jaws and poo-poo on us and said, no, thank you. We got it from here. So that's why I am doing what I'm doing. And anyone can say whatever. You don't control. There is nothing that you have and nothing these people have in their life that's powerful enough to control my vote. I am the only one that controls that vote, and nothing else will. And I'll land with that.
All right. Appreciate that, Original. Appreciate that. I see I got Brother Moku up here. Brother Moku, I know your hand's not up, but did you want to speak?
Yeah, what's going on, Toda?
What's up?
On, DJ Reginald? Thanks, everybody. Thanks for letting me speak. What's up, everybody in the space? Yeah, Biden shouldn't have never even been in the position that he's in. I think now being more aware that he is just another page from Strom Thurmond's book, and the more that we keep that in mind, that not even just 2-3 decades ago, he ain't want his children going to school with niggas. I mean, his words, not mine, or jungle babies, or whatever he calls us. bottom line is, now the chickens are coming home to roost, and I don't feel sorry for it. And I think this is good. I'll land that.
All right, appreciate you, that brother Moku. It's been a little minute since we had you speak up in here, but definitely appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get to Stephanie. Stephanie, what's going on tonight?
Hey, what's going on? I'm at work as always. Shout out to the whole room. I think we should have just been listening and paying attention to all of the symbolism back in the 70s, especially when the former Black Panthers, the former snake leaders, the former members of Black nationalism were speaking out about the Democrats not doing anything. I think, and they had a conference, and it was nothing but Black powerful men, former Black Panthers. The only person that messed it up was Jesse Jackson. He was the only one that was in there that shouldn't have been in there. But they had a great dialogue, and they talked about how we should create our own political party and how we should do things and organize for ourselves instead of depending on the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, whatever party they aligned with back then. Because all of it was just nothing but word salad, as they say. And guess what? Somehow somebody from the inside infiltrated and they got shut down. So we better start keeping a close eye on our circle, and I really pray that this is a huge wake up call for everybody. The entire Black American community. This is a huge wake up call. I remember when I had this, and I talk about it once in a while. I was, like an 18, 19-year-old voter, and this politician had a woman to call my house. And, at that time I was doing poll working and stuff like that, for extra money. And this lady called me and said, you have to make a donation to, what is this politician's name? Lloyd Henry. If you don't make a donation to his organization, you won't be able to work for the polls anymore. And I was shocked because I'm like, wait a minute, who is this? So I asked, I said, wait a minute, what's your name? Who are you? She hung up the phone. And I'll be doggone if I was not allowed to work the polls for like 3 or 4 years. So somebody told me that I could have reported that to the Board of Elections. But at that time, I'm young, I'm 19. I was excited about voting. I was excited because I'm like, yo, it's my duty, my civic duty to understand and vote and put people in office. At the time, I didn't understand the full dynamics of voting and who to vote for and what the policies are. All we know is, well, if you put this guy on the ballot, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. This is what they were driving into our heads back then, was to just put this guy in office. He's going to look out for us. Let's just keep him in there. He's going to do this and do that. Lo and behold, nothing came about it. Now look at what we're dealing with. We're dealing with forced evictions, mass incarcerations. We're dealing with gentrified on a landslide. Okay, now we're dealing with being attacked from these illegals. Coming into the neighborhood, stifling the resources. How many Black-owned businesses are owned in the Black community? But we should have listened. We definitely should have listened, especially when Joe Biden was a guest speaker at this gala that they had years ago. And Joe Biden was on stage, and he said, I want to introduce y'all our guest performer, Michael Jackson. And the guy was dressed up in a whole black suit with a Jerry curl wig on and a Michael Jackson beaded jacket and a white glove. Okay, all about with big pink lips. And they was all on stage, and Joe Biden was laughing and everything, but you will not find that video nowhere. I put that video up. Nobody looked at it, and it barely got 1 like. Okay, I put that out there just to show what type of person this man that's running for office really is. And it didn't get any traction. So I just really hope that we listen this time and pay more attention to the policies that they keep putting out there, all these so-called, things that they said that they're going to do for the community. The only thing that they're doing for the community is bouncing Black folks out of it. So that's just basically all I have to say for right now. And thank you for letting me speak.
As always, it's good to hear from you, sister. Love My Folks is over there talking. She's really going off over there on YouTube. I know Love My Folks. She's going off over there. So like I said, I know she's not shy to speak. I know Love My Folks. I wish she was over here on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called, so you can actually get on the microphone and speak too. But I know I don't think you really, like you said before, I don't think you really hang out on X too much. But hey, you're definitely entitled to your opinion, sister. So you'll not hear you won't hear me going back and forth with you. I mean, I know you were saying this is her. She was, because I guess her and OG Bags are having a conversation over there, and she was basically saying that let me get that comment. What did she say? People who are willing to meet with Trump got something. The second largest institution in Black America, churches and HBCUs got something. Everyone else flipping the bird. Yeah, I mean there were when there was talk about people actually meeting with Trump and speaking and whatever, and you had a lot of people in mainstream media, Black people in mainstream media, that had something to say about it. They were talking about old as Jim Brown was at the time. Jim Brown said some stuff that I just contributed with him being up in age and everything else as well too. Jim Brown was a writer, so if Jim Brown made a off mark remark or something like that, I'm not going to hold it back. I'm not going to hold it on him. Like I said, Jim Brown was up in his age. He lived a life. He talked the talk. He walked the walk. So, if he said anything, but people went off because Jim Brown was talking about meeting with I think he did meet with Donald Trump.
Kanye, remember, and that's what Kanye was in there acting a fool, and Jim Brown was just in there looking at him like this guy crazy.
Yeah, so people, they have that. Yeah, so I see Ray up here. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna get the raid, and I'm gonna get back to Black and Original. Ray, what's going on?
What's up, y'all? Just got a real quick question. I just want to get everyone's input on how much they think mail-in ballots are gonna play in this election.
Mail-in ballots, they're gonna play a big part, because I know my parents, my mom and dad, they always did the mail-in ballot. After a while, they did the mail-in ballot. So I can think of a number of people that do it. I think it's gonna play a big part. I myself never was big on it. Yeah, I don't really like the mail-in ballots myself, but
that's what Trump advocated for. But hold up, like Just Kate said, right? Can the Dominion voting machines be trusted? I think your fingerprint, because that's how they do it in other countries. I'd rather put my fingerprint on it and say, hey, yeah, this me. Say one.
Yeah, I Ray, like I say, I know, especially it seemed like a bunch of, I'm not gonna say a bunch, but it seemed like a significant portion of the older population, they like to actually go ahead and do it as well too. So I definitely, you seem like you got like a lot of older couples that'll fill it out with each other and then go ahead and mail it off and stuff like that as well too. Like I said, I know my mom and stuff, she used to do it. I believe she used to fill in my dad's ballot as well too, because they both was pretty much on the same, like they voted the exact same way. So that would kill two. Yeah, that would kill two birds with one stone right there. So I don't like it. I'd rather actually go and do it in person, because it's just, like I say, too much tricky stuff. But yeah, it's gonna play. It's gonna, not only do you have the mail-in ballots, but then you got the overseas for a lot of people that may be in military and stuff as well too. So that plays a part in it as well too. Yeah, that plays a part in it as well too.
Hey Ray, I was just gonna say, the other thing too, what you said about like a lot of elders, Tyler, a lot of elders, and I guess we'll be this way when we get elders, become elders. They stay connected to their local election committee and halls and all this other stuff. So, it's about time we all start doing the same, you know what I mean? So basically, what the OGs do, I put that mail in because I ain't, I'm old. I ain't going to stand in line and do none of that stuff. Especially if I don't feel like it. And then, you could just go online and call your local election office and say, hey, did my vote go through? And they'll say, yeah, here's your reference number and your receipt and all this other stuff, or you get something in the mail saying that your vote was counted. But it's like you said, though, on the back end, can you really trust that, though? Especially after everything that just happened in 2020, where the Dominion company was recently just fined. I think they were fined like a $500 million, something like that. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, and then you're right. Like the older people, they stay up on those local elections as well too, because there used to be local elections in the city I didn't even know about. I'm like, did you vote today? I'm like, vote? Like it was election? Yeah, hello. Oh, let me go and get to it.
Hey, look, I get the mail-in pre-elections at my house and still forget to go vote.
Yeah. So I definitely forgot a number of times as well myself, and had to be reminded as well too. I see we got no taxation. Let me get to no taxation. Let me get to some of our newer hands, and then we'll swing it back around, guys. And anybody else that wants to speak, come on up here as well.
Hi, News, and everybody in the room. I trust everybody is doing well.
Hey, what's up? No taxation.
I'm over here battling Plato because I messed up and fed him, cooked him some, boiled him some chicken and Angus beef burger and stuff. And now he won't eat nothing but that. And he thinks that's all he's supposed to eat. And so he's on a 2-day hunger strike, I guess. Plato says, shoot, I'm just as black as you are. I'm just as black as you are. What make you think I don't want to eat well? Okay.
Somebody get Rob on the phone. We got a problem with Plato.
Mail-in ballots are not as easy to get as people think they are. You have to be on the rolls. They have to have a record of you having voted, have your registration numbers on there and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually safer than those machines. And you can't just get them. You have to get them from the county clerk. So, I mean, even if you go online and get one, you're still going to have to fill out the same information. And there's a paper trail because they have to record that they sent you a mail-in ballot so that people don't vote twice. So mail-in ballots are actually better. The problem is it just takes longer to count them. Overseas ballots, because I did on both ends, right? Overseas ballots, they come early. But by the time the people in the military fill them out and send them in, they're not counted until late. And I think that's one of the major problems with voting right now is that we don't count our military votes at the same time that we count the votes that are here in the states, because they come in so late, all of them do. I don't know what that problem is, but it's a major problem. Been like that for years. Biden Biden is probably going to put out an executive order. Let's just talk about the political landscape, right? Biden is probably going to put out an executive order pretty soon to do something about immigration and stop it. And he's going to take a page out of Trump's playbook and do the same thing he did to stop those people from coming in. So that's going to be off the table, right? Because that's what some people are. Abortion is a big thing, or not abortion, but what is it called? Pro-choice and all that kind of stuff is a big thing. Immigration, which he can do something about fairly quickly by executive order, is a big thing. What's not a big thing is reparations. And that's why he's losing the black vote. And we should be telling the Biden administration that if he doesn't come up with something, certainly we're going to either cast our vote for what looks like Trump or not cast a vote at all. And if we don't cast a vote at all and he loses, that's his problem. I've been encouraging people on social media to leave that Democratic plantation for over 10 years. That was the only reason I came on social media, to tell people to get off that Democratic plantation. If we got off of that and became independents before we formed our own party, because that's what we really need. We need a Black American political party. Okay? That's what we need. But short of that, black folks need to be independent voters. The bottom line, though, is no matter how we vote, the Electoral College is what puts the people in the Oval Office. That's where the vote really counts. And that's why it's so important to know who your state elected officials are, because that's where they get the Electoral College from. And so you need to be a participant in your state and local politics because it's important to you. It's where the rubber meets the road, but also because that is the rallying point to see where your vote on a larger scale in your state, what your electoral voter is going to vote for. Now, here's the other thing. They don't have to vote for what the majority wants. How about that? Chuck Schumer voted for, because he's part of, I'm in New York, he was one of our electoral colleges, and I think we had 3, I can't remember. But anyway, he voted for Trump. Why? Because he didn't want Hillary Clinton in there. Okay? So now there you go. You see? And that's what we're up against. That's why we need our own party, and that's why we don't need to belong to any political party. Any. And y'all know that I was raised in a Republican household, but I never talk about my mother, but my mother was a staunch Democrat. And that's why I'm an independent to this day, because I saw both sides of the aisle. And right now, the action needs to be to push for federal reparations. That should be the action that we take, not state. Because states can't never do anything without reparations. But we need to be pushing for federal. And if you do it hard enough, and if you do it strong enough, and if you do it loud enough, because Black folks have decided to leave that particular plantation, and the mess that we're in today proves it, then we're sitting in the catbird seat. Somebody should be listening to us. Okay? And I just encourage everybody to stay in the fight and don't give up, because nothing beats a failure but a try. And I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. Thank you as always. No taxation. Appreciate you coming up here, sister. So we got a new hand up here, so we're gonna get to that as well, guys. We still need some support on Cash App. It's Dollar Monday. It's Dollar Monday, guys. So if you got $1 that you can donate to the platform, it's definitely greatly appreciated. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. You ain't got to get more than $1, but if you got $1 that you can spare and donate it to the platform, it is greatly appreciated. Once again, I'm gonna say $Newstoter, $Newstoter. We ain't trying to break the bank. We just trying to pay the bills. $Newstoter, $Newstoter, guys. If you don't have Cash App, the Venmo, PayPal is up in the Jumbotron. Same for people on YouTube. The Cash App is on the screen, and the actual PayPal and Venmo is in the description. Let's see if we can get $1 donation tonight, guys. Let's see if we can get at least $1 donation. Nobody's donated to the platform, but if we can get at least a couple dollars for the platform, it'll be greatly appreciated, guys. And make sure you guys visit newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking Black news, guys. Visit newstoter.com. We need you guys to start going to the site, interacting with the site. Visit, once again, newstoter.com. Newstoter.com. Shout out to my girl Stephanie. Stephanie, thank you for your contribution. Newstoter.com. Let me go ahead and get to. I want to get to the new speaker. I said we got Black Chicago for Trump. So I want to hear what Black Chicago for Trump's got to say, and I'm gonna get back to Black Majority State and Original as well. So Black Chicago for Trump. Are you there? Okay, I don't know if she... Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your stage. I'm P. Ray of Black Chicago for Trump, Chicago Red, and the hostess of Black Excellence Hour, show people with high self-esteem, Sundays at 5 p.m. on WVON 1690 AM, America's oldest Black station in the epicenter of Negro politics. Now, I said all this to say that my city is going red, period. City of Chicago, the county of Cook, Negro.
Hey, Black Chicago, can I get you up a little bit louder? Do you have on any earbuds, anything?
Yeah, I got on earbuds. I'm sorry, the mic wasn't close to my mouth. Is this better for you?
You're still a little bit low. You don't have on a headset or nothing, do you?
Is this better?
That's much better. Yeah.
All right, perfect, love. Sorry, then I'll start all the way over. I am P. Ray of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self-esteem, Sundays at 5 p.m. on WVON WVON 1690 AM Chicago, America's oldest Black radio station and the epicenter of Black politics. We are organized in Black Chicago for Trump and pushing hashtag Chicago Red because the Democrat Party has played with us far too long. Our people have been fighting the Democratic Party in the city of Chicago since the Civil War. When Douglas, which was a Confederate GOP camp over here ran by the Union on the south side in the middle of Bronzeville, that's the Democratic Party started attacking Black folks here. And they actually had to send federal troops here multiple times to make them stop. Now, what's happening lately, because since 2018 I've been promoting Donald Trump and leaving the Democratic Party. These people have played with us far too often, far too long. They give us poor schools, they demolish our housing, they overtax us, they allow the cartels to come here and sell billions of dollars worth of heroin a year due to their policies. And right now we are in the middle of an invasion because the buses are coming to Chicago, and every person who gets off the bus has an invoice attached to their back for the Chicago taxpayers, and we can't afford them. They got to go home. And because we are a very blue city, people believe that we support this. But I want to just put a few facts out here so that everybody can know and understand the truth of what's going on in Chicago. Number one, Brandon Johnson won 0 Black wards in the primary election. 0 Black wards. Black Chicago does not have anything to do with what's going on. We did not vote for this. In the general election, it was between him and a guy named Paul Vallis. Paul Vallis was the CEO of the Chicago Public Schools in the 90s. So nobody with a kindergarten, 6th grade, 8th grade, or high school diploma signed by Paul Vallis was going to vote for Paul Vallis. That man is a literal villain to the students or the alumni of the Chicago Public Schools. So
hey, you kind of low again. You start off kind of high, but you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry.
Okay, right there. I can hear you pretty good there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. Thank you for telling me. So what I'm saying is, Brandon Johnson got in because of the white liberals, the white liberal progressives, and now everybody is starting to see that this white liberal progressive movement is not working. It has absolutely nothing to do with Black people because they've spent over $1 billion housing, feeding, clothing, giving these people all kind of stuff while our people are still suffering. They tore down the Chicago housing projects in the late 90s and hoarded the money. The Chicago Housing Authority has over $1 billion of federal housing funds, but they refuse to rebuild because they don't want us out here. So we are dealing with a plethora of things, but the illegal immigration issue is what straw that broke the camel's back. And I know that the Democrats are afraid because I used to host the evening show on WVON. WVON's call letters originally stood for Voice of the Negro. We were, or are, the epicenter of Black politics. So when Martin Luther King moved to Chicago, he hosted the morning show while he was here. So we got tapes of Martin Luther King playing and laughing with the city of Chicago. Barack Obama hosted the morning show here. This is how he got legitimacy. Brandon Johnson had a show on the station. That's how he got legitimacy. Roland been on the station. Dr. Al been on the station. Anybody that's somebody in Black America has had a show on VOE. Now, I'm the only right-wing conservative show. And the reason that my show works so well, nobody's come up to the station, tried to hit me in the face with a brick. None of that. Because y'all know they buzzed Martin Luther King's head with a brick while he was here. But nobody tried to do anything like that to me. Praise the Lord. Because my show speaks to the self-esteem of the people and lets the Negro know that we are at home. This is our country, from sea to shining sea. The Negro is American as sweet potato pie. Not apple pie. We like apple pie, but the Negro's pie is a sweet potato pie. We American. So we American is sweet potato pie. We got our own everything. Right. And they make the apple pie. You know what I'm saying? So we got our own vibe over here. Always have, always been living in our own parallel country, same land, but in our own way, and that's okay. So when you speak to the patriotic esteem of our people, that's how you get them to move politically. That's why Chicago is moving politically, because I'm telling people, your people didn't pay taxes for this. You know, our people didn't pay cotton down in Mississippi and run up here to Chicago and stand in factories and buy us buildings for this? Absolutely not. When my grandmother left Mississippi with my grandfather, the first place they lived in the city of Chicago was in a boxcar. A boxcar. And she was a citizen. You mean to tell me they put illegals at the hotel? Absolutely not. So when you speak to the people like that and you remind them of who they are and what they represent and how they were raised and how they have morals and how they are not a lowly, pitiful people, but the greatest thing that the United States of America has. Once you raise their self-esteem, it's easy to sweep them away from the Democrats because all they think that we are pitiful and begging and low, and we can't do anything without them giving us permission. And one thing about Chicago people is that we ain't studying no white folks. You know, they can't come and tell us nothing. They tell us what to do. But what instead they do is they go get these black leaders and then have them to come talk to us. But Brandon, because his message has been so egregious, now we can see that the emperor doesn't have one new clothes. And now we don't want anything to do with him. We don't want to look at his ashy butt. No. Not that he's ashy. It's just the metaphor of the emperor doesn't have on clothes. But I said all that to say that we out in Chicago. And I hope that everybody else in Black America is out as well. Put your gym shoes on, tie them up real tight, because we finna run to the right. If you want to stay on the left, that's okay. Stay where you at, do what you do, but don't come in our lane bothering us, trying to harass us, trying to shame us, trying to do all this weird stuff people like to do to attack people who want to leave. Let us go, because we ain't studying y'all. We ain't calling you names. We not sharing your stuff. We not doing none of that, because we on the mission to save our people. Our people worked hard for this. We come from a great people. We are not immigrants, and everything we got right now is because our ancestors got up and went to work to go get it. So minimally, you can fight to keep it for you and yours. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you coming on tonight. Let me go ahead and let me give a shout out to Stephanie. Oh, I'm sorry, I already gave a shout out to Stephanie. Let me give a shout out to Shannon. Shannon, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Black was up and he must have dropped down. So let me go ahead and get to original. I got you, Stephanie, too.
Let Stephanie go first.
Okay. So, yeah, Stephanie, go ahead. You at work, so go ahead. You got it.
I just wanted to ask you guys a question. I know this is a little bit off topic, but do you know that the policymakers are trying to make it possible for illegal aliens to get funding to buy homes? They're putting that. They're trying to lobby for that. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up.
No, I didn't know that one, Stephanie. But
Post that in the chat.
yeah, I didn't know that. But it's not surprising because you got a lot of them that been in the rules a lot now for a lot of these illegals and stuff as well too. Love My Folks said, ask if Brandon Johnson is Caribbean or Black American. I forgot. I think he does have a multi background. I forgot what he say.
So they tried to say that he was a Haitian, but then his Negro cousins came out and was like, no, this is our cousin. He a Black man. So we don't know where he's from other than the fact that he's not from the city of Chicago. He's from Elgin, Illinois. It's his wife that's really from the West Side, and he was able to use her social capital to try to legitimize himself. So now even us West Side, he lives like a mile from my house. We're all like, he's from Elgin. We not gonna sign to that. But we don't know exactly what his background is other than the fact that he's Negro.
And from Elgin.
And from Elgin. Yes, and from Elgin, not Chicago.
On the West Side Council.
No, we're from Austin. The Austin community, I'm going to be quiet for real, but the Austin community is one of America's largest Black communities. We have 80,000 Negroes who live here. At one point, we had 100,000, so we're very, 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 very Negro here, but we're very Southern as well. So we're like a northern Southern town, and everybody knows everybody. But now we see that because Brandon is claiming us and he's acting like this, he was never us, because we would never, ever, ever support people like this over our. Always had a lot of, and we know that we to live over here. We're gonna be okay with giving legals, y'all. They giving. When I say every Jordans, one girl I've seen had some braces in her mouth. Like, it's crazy. But the city of Chicago has found the money to give it to them while we got our people sleeping in vans, because now they're putting the black people in Chicago out the apartments because the illegals come with $15,000 at one time. So if you're a landlord and you've been fighting with Kiki and Derek over their rent and they laid and back and forth or whatever, it's easy to tell them, no, y'all got to go because it's illegal coming with $15,000 up front. So now it's even causing our people to be homeless. Y'all, we done with these Democrats. The Democrats knew what they were doing when they started harassing us like this. I don't know why they're afraid, because obviously we were going to leave them alone for beating us up so bad.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Check the Jumbotron.
I see Black Majority State came back up here. So I'll go ahead and I'll let you get it in, Black Majority State, and then we'll go ahead and get back to original. Go ahead, Black.
Okay, cool, awesome. Thank you so much. I came up, and Stephanie just said something else that I want to kind of ask her about. Could you please send me that Biden Michael Jackson thing that you were talking about? Because I'll definitely post it. And then she said about the housing. So Biden issued a warning. That was maybe a month or so ago, about lending to the banks, and said it would be discriminatory. I don't know if it was the Justice Department or something, but it was a letter that came out, and they did kind of make it clear that they would not tolerate these banking institutions not lending to those people. So that's kind of been working for a while here. But I came up, Mr. No Taxation talked about a party, and Stephanie talked about that 1972 convention. So this is something that I came across recently. There was a Black American party that was called the Freedom Now Party. And, there were a few people, Black militant, Black nationalists that were involved in it. But Malcolm X was approached to run for the ticket. So it says Milton Henry, who was he was one of the founders of that party. This is Malcolm X's words. He said, it was Milton Henry asking me to run for senator from Michigan on the Freedom Now Party ticket. He says it was a very bad phone connection. He said, I wouldn't say yes or no. Then he starts talking about his daughters and other people, and he said they stayed till 3 a.m. But Malcolm's OAAU organization, where he had Gloria, I think her name's Gloria Richardson. She's the woman who pushes away the assault rifle in that black and white photo. John Henrik Clark. There were a lot of big names that were a part of that. And so I think it was logical because, he was talking politics, that would have eventually led to him actually running for office, and it would have been under this Freedom Now Party ticket. So everybody knows about Fannie Lou Hamer's party, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, I believe is essentially what it was called. And her attempts to do that as well. But most people probably don't know that Malcolm was contemplating running for U.S. Senator in Michigan. So I just wanted to add that in there.
All right. Thank you, Black. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get to, I guess we got original. Go ahead and get to original. Original, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I want to say I want to back up what Stephanie was saying about, needing what they, some of these people sold us out. See, one of our issues, the one thing that we've not ever done, we have never gone after that snitch that would come into our meeting and run back to the enemy, telling them what we are doing. We never, as long as we have credible evidence, let me say that, we've never burnt their house down, put sand or sugar in their gas tank to tear up their car. They've just been allowed to run freely around our community and go and come to our meetings and then run back and expose to the enemy what we were planning. And so until we start doing something like that, when we have concrete evidence that they have sold us out, we need to at least do something to them. Now, as far as these illegals getting these loans, well, see, they've been doing that for a while. They have been giving them these tax ID numbers where they could go and open up bank accounts and buy homes. They've been doing that for a while, but they gave them that. And so, and what Sister Black Chicago for Trump, I think it. Don't quote me this, but I think it was Benjamin E. Mays. He's a former educator at Morehouse College, and he was an elected official in the city of Atlanta. I think it was him who said, in the future, that our issues won't be with these Republicans. It would be with those progressives and those liberals. That would be our issue. And I'll be damned if that ain't right. Okay? Look at what's going on in Chicago. And I don't know how many people know it, but that Chicago mayor, he was in the hospital for a panic attack. Our people are putting so much pressure on him, it's causing him health issues. And I heard from somebody that they said that they had contacted some of our people, and Black Chicago for Trump, she may be able to share more information on this, that they was trying to get our people in Chicago to back up our Brandon because it was causing him so many issues. So no, you don't back up, you increase the pressure. And if he fall out and don't wake up, oh well, that's his problem, not ours. Because we are no longer allowing people to brutalize us. This is another form of brutality against us. And Newstoter, you mentioned Cornel West. He's not on the ballot here in Georgia. I checked. He is not on the ballot here in Georgia. So, if you notice when he first came out, that first party that he was running under, they was only in about maybe 2 or 3 states. So Cornel is a joke. And some people are saying, well, he can raise issues. He's not raising issues that specifically address U.S. descendants of enslaved people. Because when he put on his platform about reparations for Black citizens of this country, that includes Black immigrants, and they are not, they may look like us, but they are not a descendant of our ancestors. So that's how they play these Jedi mind games, and they want people to continue to support them. And we're like, no, we're done with that. We are no longer going to allow you to come in, and do your little dance and think that we're not aware as to what's going on. So I'm proud of the brothers and sisters in Chicago that they're giving this fool the business, and he's had to go into the hospital. And if he don't come out, oh well, that's not my problem. And I land with that.
All right, appreciate that, original. Let me see. No taxation. You had your hand up. Did you? It's down. Did you want to speak? Say something again? Or are you good? Okay, she may not be there. I guess let me go ahead and get to Art. Art, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Addressing the title, Democrats afraid Black voters leaving Biden in the droves. Yeah, I just wish both parties felt that way. Honestly, I don't think there's enough of both parties feeling the pain. I want to remind people that Assange is up. And the reason why I bring that up, this court case is up now, is because people should go back and read WikiLeaks, where they said Trump is their Pied Piper candidate. Pied Piper candidate. The Democrats pushed Trump into the fame he's in right now. And then you might say that's a one-off until you realize that they donated $54 million to far-right extremists, not just any Republicans, far-right extremists since that point. This is a game. This is a money game. Immigration has gone up no matter which party has been in power for the last 60 years. I think both parties need to feel more. Just more, a lot more. People say, well, us retracing from the system somehow are going to be a bad thing. Really? Because what if us activating in the system really done? Has it gotten us reparations? And so what have we not done? Because we used to be Republicans. Wasn't that the first party who was in? We used to be Democrats. That's party now. So, I mean, what other options? We go third party, which I'll remind everybody that it was not the Republicans who was a third party at the time, because it was not the major party at their time that got us free. It was the Frederick Douglass Republicans, particularly, and the Liberty Party. So it was a third party on a third party and a third party group that got us free. Not the two main parties. Just food for thought. I'll land it there.
All right. Appreciate it, Art. Let me go ahead and get back to Black Chicago for Trump. We're not going to keep it going too much longer. Take a speaker or two, and then we're going to probably close it down for the night. DJ Original, y'all hold it down real quick, but go ahead, Black Chicago, Trump.
Really quickly, I just want to respond that the mayor is going crazy, and he has gone to the hospital, and they asked us to stop and to be nicer to him. Hello?
Yeah,
Hello? I'm sorry, someone called me. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's okay. I'm just saying, yeah, but that's true. We are keeping our foot on his neck very hard, and this is our city. We're not going to let a man from Elgin take it from us. Thank you.
Say no to Elgin Knackers come November. Keep it real. We don't know them Knackers over there from the O-Block side. You know, this South Shore side. You know what I'm saying, sister?
No, not me. Not me. No. I'm not from out south. I just want to make that clear, too. I'm not from out south.
I'm just talking trash.
I know. You don't know when people think about Chicago, they think about out south, but it's the whole west side vibe that goes on, too.
West side, well, Chicago, y'all east side Knackers ain't got nothing on the books. Go ahead, Black Majority. Go ahead.
Okay, and then I got a quick question for Black Chicago. The Italian or Greek guy that was running against him in the runoff, how much different do you think the immigration situation would have been? I mean, he was a Democrat. He likely would have been under the party line. How different do you think it would have been if he won instead of Brandon?
I think that Paul Vallis still would have played the game. He is a lifelong employee of Democrat leaders. This is what he does. However, he never had a chance, y'all. Not even a little bit. So the only reason that he won is because the white people in Chicago voted for him. That's it. Other than that, CPS people, Chicago families, nobody wanted Paul Vallis. Nobody asked for Paul Vallis. Nobody sent for Paul Vallis. And he thought that he was just going to impose himself into our politics. And like I told you, nobody tells Black Chicago what to do. So it probably would be the same way, because he wouldn't have been able to stop the buses. But I do think that he would have given us an opportunity to vote on the Sanctuary City Ordinance, because Brandon did not give us that opportunity. He actually took it from us.
Alrighty, I'm back. Is there anybody else that wants to speak tonight?
Hey, Richard, you want to get it in real quick?
Oh no, I'm good. I've already cited everything I wanted to cite. I just want people to be aware as if someone approach you trying to convince you to vote for any, just tell them. Just ask them the question: what is their platform for Black people, Black Americans? The Black American Negro. Ask them if they don't have a platform for us, speaking specifically what they're going to do for us, then they're not deserving of your vote. And that's where I stand with that.
That's all now.
Alrighty.
All right. I guess I'll just say what I got to say real quick. Just to be fast about it. Jim Crow Joe told Black people they want us far away from his mother, who's turning over somewhere in some graveyard. You know what I'm saying? Keep it real. You know what I mean? At this point, because this was in the late 80s, 90s, 70s. So he want us far away from him. So therefore, meaning don't take your butt to the poll and go vote for him. He also told Charlemagne, who's a sucker, MC by the way, shouldn't be on the radio at this point because he's a pedophile. Let's be logical, no allegedly. Told Charlemagne, you're not black if you don't vote for me. And Charlemagne stood there like a sucker ass coward that he is, weirdo, you know what I'm saying? And didn't say anything to Biden. Jim Crow Joe, excuse me. Didn't say anything to him. Biden also said after the election, maybe it was the Alzheimer's kicking in. He probably didn't even realize what he was saying. Hey, black people, I'm not gonna forget what you did for me. If there's anything you need from me, just don't hesitate to ask. So when the topic came up with that again, Jim Clyburn told him, "Oh no, boss master, you know what I mean? This is your old faithful service statement. We don't need anything from you. We don't need no reparations, no type of money coming into the community. We don't need no uplift or nothing, sir. We just so happy to be around your boss. We don't know what to do. Us niggas so happy. You know what I mean? Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master Biden. You know what I mean? So, y'all heard it all right here. Hopefully the Democrats replay this because I tagged their podcast. We ain't voting for you come November. It's over with. Reparations act.
All right. Stephanie, go ahead. I'll let you be the last speaker for tonight, and we're going to close it out.
Can somebody go before me because I'm looking for something? Can somebody go before me?
Well, we're gonna get ready to we're gonna get ready to actually close it out. That's why I was trying to
support Newstoter. Just 2 seconds. You better be quick, sister. You know what I'm saying? Hit the Cash App, Macus, hit the PayPal, hit the Venmo. Make sure you follow Newstoter online. Newstoter.com is a social platform as well. Follow Newstoter on social and all other platforms, social networks. Let's go. Underlay, mommy.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this. There was never forget who Joe Biden really is. There was a black man in the state of Delaware who spent 38 years in prison for a crime that he didn't commit. And he tried to file a lawsuit for all of the years that he spent in prison, and he was denied by Joe Biden. And also Joe Biden had passed a law that even if you're wrongly convicted, you're not allowed to sue. So I was looking for that article so I can post it, but I can't. I got called up to speak. But I just wanted to, refresh some memories, so we can really understand, is this the person that we want to keep in office for a second term? And I'll close on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Let me give a shout out real quick to EHZ over there on YouTube for the super sticker. Thank you as always, EHZ, for always supporting. DJ, you want to say something real quick before I close it out?
Yeah, just one last thing I forgot to read. This is probably the most important. Jim Crow Joe, a.k.a. Joseph. What's his name? Middle name Robert, something like that. Biden, you know what I mean?
Robert Douglas.
Robert what? Anyway, don't matter. He's a clan racist. So, Jim Crow Joe, you are the worst father ever, yo. Your son smoked crack, and he lost a federal laptop that we don't even know who got their hands on it. But we also see the reason why the Republicans is trying to get you up out of here too, because not to say we, but we clearly see that you got strong ties with China. Very, very strong ties with China. And these are the same people that released the Wu-Tang flu. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang for the kids, y'all. So you're a terrible dad. You're even worse president. Your son smoked crack. He a dummy and need to be locked up. He needs to be locked up. The American people need to make sure Hunter Biden is arrested and locked up. Because if any of us ever thought for a moment that we could weigh 8 grams of crack and post it to Facebook, we saw the video. Come on out. We ain't even gonna kick in the door now. Come on, bro. Give it up. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Banging hoes at the strip club, sniffing dope off their titties. You know what I'm saying? And turn around and had a illegitimate baby. And then Biden said, well, it ain't my grandkid. I don't know that little dummy. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said, yo. So why is we voting for this person? So he was a terrible dad. His son smoked crack, and he lost a federal laptop. If anyone one of us, it was a governmental laptop. Regardless of what the information, it's a federal laptop. Nigga, put your hands behind your back. Oh, you resisted? He got a gun. Just that simple. I'm guilty.
All right, guys. We thank everybody for coming out to the space tonight. We will see you guys probably Wednesday night. We'll be back. So everybody be safe. Have a good night. Peace. Thank all of the people on YouTube and here in X. And we'll see you guys in. So everybody be safe, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.